Hi, I'm Konstantin Ribel. Welcome to the third episode of the Large Scale Scrum Explained series. In this video, we will cover the Lean Thinking principle. Lean Thinking is a system. It's a proven system that scales to large development. It's a long refined system and it's an effective system that comes from a company which is relatively robust and sustainable, namely Toyota. Why is it actually called Lean? During the industrialization times, most companies focused on decreasing the price per piece by producing the same piece in high quantities, which is also known as mass production. Toyota, however, focused on decreasing the cost of change in the production line, for example, by reducing the time that is needed to change the tools in the production line or increase reusability of the same tools to produce other parts. So therefore, Toyota could produce different parts at a lower quantity and at a lower price. The English term lean was coined for the Toyota system to contrast the mass production with Toyota's non-mass production, lean production. The implication for Toyota was a dramatic decrease in batch size and no longer competing on the economies of scale, but rather competing on the ability to adapt, avoid inventory, and work in very small units. These are all themes you can also find in LeSS. And before we dive any deeper into the lean thinking and what lean thinking is, let's have a look at the misconceptions and misunderstanding about it. Let's have a look at a metaphor to highlight a critical thinking mistake. Consider a relay race. So the runners are standing around and waiting for the baton to be passed on from their colleague. At the same time, there is an accountant who observes the situation and thinks, what a terrible underutilization of resources. And he would then probably mandate a 95% utilization of resources to ensure all the runners are busy and productive. Traditional management and traditional product development processes are based on such thinking. In contrast, consider a central idea in lean thinking. Watch the baton, not the runners. Lean thinking addresses questions like, what is the value to waste ratio in your work? What impedes the flow of value and how people can feel inspired to continuously strive to improve that flow? Let's have a look at some common misconceptions about lean. Management tools are not a pillar of lean. Tools and techniques are not the keys. Simplifying lean thinking to just tools or techniques is a trap many companies fell into before when they tried to superficially and unsuccessfully adopt what they thought was lean. Here is some of my personal experience in this context. Processes, methods, and tools can be helpful and they can improve teams or larger product development groups. But the question is, why do companies actually install processes, methods, and tools in the first place? I observed two reasons. Reason number one, a company wants people to follow some processes to ensure something undesirable doesn't happen. And reason number two is the exact opposite of that. A company wants people to follow some processes to make sure something desirable does happen. So the question then is, why don't people do all of that by themselves? Why don't they ensure all of that themselves? Why do they need processes, methods, and tools for this? I observe two things. One, people don't have the required skill, and two, people don't have the required knowledge to do all of that. So when I observe companies, I ask myself, do people serve processes, or do processes serve people? So the power behind lean is a company's management commitment to continuously invest in its people and promote a culture of continuous improvement. Another misconception of lean thinking is about waste reduction. Waste reduction is not a pillar of lean. Waste reduction is very useful, but it's not a pillar of lean. It is embedded in lean thinking several levels deeper. So what are the pillars of lean then? Let's look at the lean thinking house. It consists of the lean goal, the lean foundation, the two pillars that we will discover later, and at its heart it has the 14 principles and the principles and practices for lean product development. It starts with a goal. The global optimization goal at Toyota is to go from concept to cash as fast as possible at a sustainable pace, but not through cutting corners or reducing quality or an unsustainable or unsafe pace. So how does Toyota achieve this goal? In development, by outlearning the competition, and in production, by out-improving the competition. Here's another piece of my personal experience. When I observe companies, I often see that many companies either don't have a global optimization goal, or it's not properly, not clearly communicated to its people, and it's not understood by its people. So what then happens is that the employees at this company have a different understanding of what is best for the company. All of them have a different understanding of what the global optimization goal is. And then everyone optimizes and improves things, usually locally. Those companies are plagued with local optimization. The foundation of lean thinking are lean thinking manager teachers who apply and teach lean thinking to others. They also base all of their decisions on this long-term philosophy. Especially managers are expected to be masters in system thinking. They are also expected to gain their insights for all of their decisions by visiting the physical frontline workplace where value gets created, instead of believing some reports and numbers. So in product development, for example, I experienced that it is useful to have managers and teams sit together, pair program or mob together, so that the managers can experience the issues the teams have firsthand and base their decision on what and how to improve on their experience, instead of believing some reports and numbers. Between the foundation and the goal of the lean thinking house are the two pillars: respect for people and continuous improvement. Those will be covered in more detail in the LeSS principle, continuous improvement towards perfection. Between the two pillars are the 14 principles as a broader system. Here's an overview of them. I'm not going to read them out loud, so please pause the video to read them by yourself. The last element of the lean thinking house are the lean thinking product development principles and practices to outlearn the competition. It all sounds good, but how do you outlearn the competition? Let's have a look at the principles of lean product development first. Here are two examples of the principles. One is high-value information. The value of feedback is high when you focus on uncertain or high-risk topics first, because the outcome is less predictable. Predictable things don't teach us much. Information has real cost of delay, which you can decrease by implementing less predictable things early in short cycles that include early testing. The second one is lower cost information. Focus on continuous integration and large-scale test automation to learn about defects and product behavior early. Now let's have a look at the lean product development practices. And here again, two examples. First is cadence. Have a cadence with short and regularly timed cycles that include small batches of work. This is something we can also find in Scrum and LeSS. And the second one is develop long-lasting engineers with highest skill and craftsmanship. Let the people work for years as hands-on developers, and don't encourage them to enter management career early. You can find more and in-depth information on LeSS.works principles lean thinking, or in the book Scaled Lean and Agile Development.
Thank you for watching. If the video was valuable to you, please click the like button to stay in touch, subscribe to the channel and click the bell button to get notified about new content.